This is multiplying complex numbers. And the main important thing to note is to look at these numbers. If you see a square root of a negative, these are not real numbers. They're not in their correct form. So the first thing you have to do is place them in their correct form. Now we can use all of the rules that we already know, which is to convert. So use the radicals, and we get 6i squared, because I times I is I squared. Now what does I squared actually make? Well, we know I is square root of negative 1. So if we square this side and this side, we get I squared equals negative 1. So I squared is negative 1. So it's negative 6. So it is weird that you can turn an imaginary number into a real number by multiplying it by another I. Now it's real. Okay, so let's try it again with distributive. So this would be 6i minus 8i squared. And we already know that I squared is negative 1. So if you notice, we still have a complex number. So we start with a complex, you multiply it by a number, you still have a complex number. Your answer will always be a complex number. Even this one is negative 6 plus 0i in either form. Right, even with box method. So we have 3 minus 2i, 1 minus 4i. So we multiply, that's 3, minus 12i, minus 2i, and then that's 8, and then I and I would give us I squared. So writing them out, we have 3 minus 12 i's, minus 2 i's, and plus 8 I squareds. Remember, these should always turn into complex numbers. So if you see the I squared is negative 1, which will now give us minus 8. We're still going to have just real parts and imaginary parts. So 3 minus 8 is minus 5, and then the imaginary parts, minus 12 and minus 2, minus 14i. So no matter how you multiply these, you should still end up with a complex number. Alright, one more. So with this one, we would think, oh, we can just distribute the square. But there's a minus there. So if we write it twice, you'll notice it's not. It's 2 terms and 2 terms. It's 2 complex numbers. So we have to do FOIL again. So that's 4 minus 6i minus 6i. And then again, the last one is our I squared. So that's 9. And then I squared. We can cross it off now and make it negative 9. So if you've noticed, all you have to do is whenever you have that I squared, is cross it off and put a minus in front. And if it is minus, you turn it into a plus. So all that I squared is going to do is change that sign. And that's it. Now we can do real part with real part, imaginary with imaginary. And there it is. All right, these are some special ones. So I want you to try using box method or FOIL, whichever method you like, multiply them out, and then see what happens. And we'll talk about it. Hit pause and try it. So you should have gotten 13 and 25. If you notice, we took 2 complex numbers, multiplied them together, and we end up with a real. 2 complex, multiply them together, and end up with a real. The middle terms are canceling, and that's because we're using a conjugate here. This is 2 plus 3i, this is 2 minus 3i. Same rule still applies. So if you put the minus and the plus, it will kill off the middle ones, which are our i's, because the last one is turning into I squared. So if you want to turn a complex number into a real, and you're allowed to do anything you want, then you would multiply by the conjugate, and it'll get rid of it. Those are your specials. So the main idea on this whole video is I squared. If you see I squared, you cross that number off and just change its sign. It's no longer imaginary. It's negative, or it's positive. And that's it. But all the same rules still apply for multiplying. Thank you.